All right, so for this function, we have h of x. So h of x is just the name. So remember, h just stands for the name of this function, okay? It's asking me to find h of -3, so, or excuse me, h of -7. So we're going to take -7, and just as a reminder that this is the x value, we are going to take our x value out of the problem, and we're going to replace it with -7. So this is going to be -7. I like to put a placeholder with the parentheses, -9. So I took the x out. I'm going to put -7 in. So -7 times -7, that's going to give me 49. -9 is going to give me 40. But again, if you need to use Desmos, have that pulled up. So -7 times -7 is 49 minus 9 gives me 40. So when I get my answer here, my input was x, which is -7. My output was 40, which is y. Now, we're going to do the same process for this problem. However, we are going to be looking at two different evaluations. We are going to evaluate f of -5, get a value. We're going to evaluate h of 4, get a value, and then we're going to add them together. So I'm going to start by doing my f function. So my f function, we're going to use the f label. F and f, so we're going to use this one right here. All right, so I'm going to start by finding f of -5. So that means I'm going to do -3, and where I see x right here, I'm going to plug in -5. So I have my parentheses, I'm going to put in -5 minus 2. So -3 times -5 is +15, minus 2 gives me 13. All right, again, if I need to use Desmos, I can do -3 times -5 minus 2. All right, now I'm going to find h of 4. All right, so h of 4, my input this time is going to be 4, but I'm going to put it in my h function. So I have my h function here. Okay, so we are going to put that 4 in the h function where the x is. All right, so I'm going to input, I have 15 minus 2, and where x is, I'm going to input 4. And that's going to give me 2, and then 15 minus 8. And then 15 minus 8 is going to give me 7. Now, I found f of 5, and I have found, or f of -5, and I found h of 4, but I still need to add them together. So my final answer is to add those two pieces together. So if I add them together, I would have 13 plus 7, which is going to give me a final answer of 20. So again, I could put this, if I go back to my h of 4, that would be 15 minus 2 times 4. That gave me 7. And then I can add up my values if I wanted to. For this example, you're basically going to be working backwards here. You've really got to pay attention to the notation. So remember, f of x just means y. So f of x just means the y value. So they're saying find the x value if I have f of x equals 16. So we're not going to put 16 in for the x value. We should be able to see that f of x and f of x are the same label. So if they're the same label, that means that I need to replace it in that spot. So 16 is going to be put into the f of x label. They didn't put 16 right here where x is. They said f of x. They said the whole function equals 16. So we're going to say that my whole function, f of x, is equal to 16. Then I have 5x minus 1. Now at that point, I can solve this equation. So I'm going to add 1. That's going to give me 17. And then divide by 5. So my x in this problem is equal to 17 over 5. And I can check that. If I plug 17 back in, okay, so if I do 5 times 17 over 5, and I do minus 1, it should equal 16. It should equal the number that I originally had. All right, so this is called composition. This is where we compose one value into the next. So you're working from the inside out. So we're going to start by doing the inside. We're going to do that h of -1. So we're going to plug -1 into the h function, and we're going to get a value. And then we're going to take that value and plug it into the g function. So you got to make sure you do it in the right order. So I'm going to start by using my h function. So we're going to start with h. We're going to use h here. All right, so if I start with h of 1, that means that my input is my 1 value for x. So this is going to be -3 times 1. So -3 times 1 is going to be -3. So basically what I do is if I replace that, I now know that g is we're going to input -3 because -3 and h of 1 are equal to the same thing. Now we're going to take that -3 and we're going to plug that -3 into my g function. So we're going to take that -3 and plug it into the next g function where x is. So now we're going to do -3, and where x is, see x is right here, we're going to plug in -3 squared plus 9. All right, so we can go plug this into Desmos. Make sure when you are squaring a value that you put parentheses around it, because that can drastically change your numbers. If you don't, it'll do the evaluation wrong. And you're going to get -18. -18 is my final output, which is what my composition was. So again, you start from the inside, plug the inside into the next function, and take that number and plug into the next function. So it was basically doing the evaluation